Let's shift gears and talk about a different kind of adverse reaction that gets less attention than the behavioral effects, but is very real for a subset of people: allergic and sensitivity reactions to artificial food dyes. This is an area where clinical case reports and challenge studies paint a pretty clear picture that for some individuals, these chemicals can trigger genuine physical reactions ranging from uncomfortable to serious. Allergists I've interviewed describe seeing patients with chronic hives, skin rashes, asthma exacerbations, and other symptoms that resolve when artificial colors are eliminated from the diet and return when they're reintroduced. The clinical challenge tests are particularly convincing because they involve giving patients the suspected trigger in a controlled setting and observing what happens, ideally in a double-blind fashion where neither the patient nor the provider knows whether they're getting the dye or a placebo. When symptoms consistently appear with the dye and not the placebo, that's strong evidence of a causal relationship. Tartrazine, which is yellow 5, has the most documented history of triggering reactions. It's chemically similar to aspirin in some ways, and people with aspirin sensitivity appear to be at higher risk for tartrazine reactions as well. Case reports describe patients developing hives, angioedema, swelling of deeper skin layers, breathing difficulties, and in rare cases, even anaphylactic-type reactions after consuming products containing yellow 5. Other artificial colors have also been implicated, particularly red 40 and the azo dyes as a class. Dermatologists see patients with chronic unexplained rashes who improve dramatically when they eliminate artificial colors. Pulmonologists have asthma patients whose symptoms become much easier to control once dyes are removed from the diet. The prevalence isn't huge. We're probably talking about somewhere between 1 and 5% of the population having clinically significant sensitivity to one or more artificial colors, but that's still millions of people. Comorbidity data shows that people with existing allergies, asthma, or sensitivity to other additives like preservatives are at higher risk for dye sensitivity as well. This makes sense from an immunological perspective. These are people whose immune systems are already primed to react to foreign chemicals. The differential diagnosis is tricky because the symptoms of dye sensitivity overlap with so many other conditions. A child with chronic hives might have any of dozens of potential triggers, and artificial colors are just one possibility. This is why elimination diets and challenge tests are so important for pinning down the actual cause. Patient vignettes are illuminating. I've heard from parents who spent years and thousands of dollars on medical testing trying to figure out why their child had constant skin problems or unexplained asthma flares, going through batteries of allergy tests and medication trials, only to finally discover through an elimination diet that artificial food colors were the culprit. Once they removed dyes from the child's diet, the problems resolved within days or weeks and stayed resolved as long as they avoided the trigger. The frustrating thing is that artificial colors aren't considered major allergens, so they don't get the same attention or labeling prominence as things like peanuts or shellfish. Someone trying to avoid them has to read every single ingredient list carefully, and as we discussed earlier, these additives are hidden in a shocking range of products. For people with genuine dye sensitivity, eating safely requires constant vigilance. The medical community needs to be more aware of this issue. Many doctors still aren't routinely considering artificial colors as a potential cause of chronic symptoms, so patients suffer longer than necessary before the problem is identified. Allergists and immunologists are generally more aware, but primary care physicians and pediatricians often aren't. If you or your child has unexplained chronic hives, rashes, or asthma that isn't responding well to usual treatments, it's worth discussing with your doctor whether a trial elimination of artificial colors might be informative. The challenge is that insurance often doesn't cover the time-intensive work of elimination diets and food challenges, so families end up figuring this out on their own. But for those who do have dye sensitivity, identifying and avoiding the trigger can be life-changing.